Hi everyone, we're on to video 7, can you believe it? Which is illustrating my lovely book and my cards. And we've been working from the very inner wheel. And we're actually on the last one, which is the key of life. And we're coming into human form now, so we've been working down and learning all our spiritual gifts, which I'm just going to recapitulate with these, my lovely cards here. So we did the I am, divine light coming from above, and how we resonate with, yes, our inner divinity, the essence of who we are. Then we did, sorry, these are in the wrong order, the we are, how we co-create together, and the divine, the kind of goddess potential of creativity, you know, what are we going to do? Then we did the we are, so we've got I am, we are, what are we going to create? And we looked at the different triads of our lives and how important they are, that they're all in harmony and actually holding us up strongly from within. Then we stripped it back and we looked at the tripods of life, and this is the kind of perseverance that we're going to need to bring ourselves forward and actually create in our lives and do the very important work that we're here to do. And we looked also at the kind of how intact our inner triangle will always be here, which is our genome, the alchemical seal of who we are, and it's always there and safe, so that we can feel this, you know, strength to go forward. And then we animated it with a beautiful love coming from above. Now we've got the Holy Spirit, if you like. It's the third element of the divine. Chi, prana, however you want to express it. And this growth that we pushing us forward and making us grow into life. So now we've got life, which is this beautiful key. And actually I like to, it goes other way, it doesn't really matter which way around, but it's drawing us into physical form. So you can almost see the body there. You've got this lovely figure of 8 and almost the head and the torso, or the torso. So we're being brought into density, and we're going to look here at karma, knowledge, the tree of life. You know, when you've eaten from that tree of life and suddenly your eyes are open to good and bad, even though they don't really exist, they're both the same thing, but we need that to see the point in life. We're going to look at that too. I'm going to illustrate that clearly. And also it's really what we need to make us flourish. We need this. It's like an oyster with a little tiny grit, you know, a tiny bit of sand in it. If it didn't have this little bit of sand, it wouldn't create the beautiful pearl. So our lives are, you know, this is showtime. We have to make it our best and make the right choices. Anyway, I thought I'd just illustrate that more because I love looking at pictures, you know, it makes it come alive more. And I think this is going to be very important for children in the future in our teaching, is bringing lots of art in and making them feel part of it. So, you know, I hope this is going to come about. Anyway, so we've just looked again at the I am, the we, together, we are, and then what we're creating, and we've brought the spiraling down into human form, and we're kind of being brought into the density here, and we're eating from the tree of knowledge, and we're going to, and it's like Hercules given all his tasks, you know, you're going to do this, this, and this. How are you going to do it? So you can choose each time in life, you can actually choose how you're going to get over that task. And it's rather like saying to an athlete, if we didn't have this point, our life would be pointless. And the common vernacular is fantastic, isn't it? You know, what is the point? There's no point. Got to have a point. We've got to have meaning. And apparently, you know, any psychologist will tell you that the most deep inner need for humans is to have meaning. You know, everything else is pointless. So it's like saying to an athlete, you know, you're going to run a 200 kilometer, no, it wouldn't be 200-meter race, and there are going to be no opponents, and if you're a hurdler, there are no hurdles. Well, what is the point? So we want to be using all our beautiful tools and putting them into practice. And so that's really important. And I thought another way of looking at that, just to further illustrate this point, is, you know, if you have a mandala, a round one in this case, without any point, it's very flat, isn't it? Your eye is not led into it. Sorry, I need to get my arms in the right direction. And it just has, it's very one-dimensional. Equally, if you have a point on its own, it has no context. It has no kind of meaning. Okay, well, what's the reason for it there? Does it relate to anything? But as soon as you put a circle and a point together, you get some kind of focus. So what I'm really trying to illustrate is how important it is to have this focus and to have this need to cleanse or to realign around a focal point. And that it's not necessarily bad, it's just something that we need to look at. It's beginning of the idea of the mirror, the other is the mirror. So I thought, and the actual point turns up in my mandalas in different ways. There are positive or more negative. In other words, there are ones where it's kind of aiming you to go forward, and sometimes it's showing you this is something that you need to kind of expel from your system, or not avoid, but sort of choose more wisely. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the positive ones. So I thought I'd just sort of show, you know, what that looks like. So now you're aiming for the point. So this is aims, goals, orgasm, success, get to the point, release, you know, go through. This is actually interesting because it's a very male one. And I want to show how it shows up in my mandalas. So we've obviously seen before the Kalduriana one, where we go through, this is spiraling, and we're going through that point and out the other side. So that was a very catalytic one. It's kind of making things happen. Then we've got male energy now. This is interesting, so I actually got this triangle and circle from my ex-husband's business cards, and that was a very successful business that he was working for, which just shows you these mandalas they're not necessarily mine, that I've mixed it up with all kinds of things to illustrate what I'm trying to show and the energy of the different flowers. So here you've got this very powerful, you know, goal-orientated male energy which has to focus, which is the opposite of female energy, which receives. So, and on a physical level, this would be testosterone, and this is the other thing that we need for women. So we've got this, we need to actually balance both these energies in our lives, but this is very much on a physical level. So here you can see the point being very, very powerful, and it's a goal rather than a problem in itself. But it, you know, but we maybe are having difficulty here. The black line is saying maybe we're having infertility, we can't kind of get it up, I don't know, things are going on and we're not able to actually break through that inertia to get to the point. And the same with that one. So that's giving us energy and making us realize. Okay, and then another one is the more negative kind of, when things have got to us and the point is becoming a huge kind of difficulty. So I thought this was a very good mandala to illustrate what happens when we feel like that. And I just wanted to also show, when we're in childhood actually, where are you? We spend a lot of our time when we're just small in this area. I'm playing, your mummy, daddy, what are we going to do? And there's a little bit of goody and baddies coming, goody baddies, but we're just playing at it. When we hit adolescence, we go right up into the brain and we start to really disconnect, and we see the beginnings of the other, which is, I mean, obviously that's beautiful because that's when the real playing in life and the real bit of life starts. But what can happen is we get stuck in the brain, and this happens to a lot of us through our lives actually, and we disconnect from our bodies, and we rise off the earth, so we're ungrounded, and we feel very unsafe, we're all in our head, and then we can start to create problems because we're busy creating problems that, you know, it's all going on. And this, I think, illustrates it rather well, actually. What did I write? Brain creates problem. Inherited karma. So obviously we've also got our inherited karma from the past. That's the kind of Hercules task. You're going to deal with this, but we can make it worse by thinking too much. So how do we create flow, and how do we get our feet on the ground? So let's look at that in my mandalas. I thought we'd look at this one. So these are the more negative ones. Well, not negative, but they're the ones showing us we've got a block. So this is for bluebell, which is for the throat. And it's to do with basically, I call them adolescent times of our life, but I'm having one now. And you can clearly see, I mean, I was stuck in inertia. Oh, can I do should I do my videos? No, I won't. No, get stark. That looks very stark, doesn't it? Very... Well, just very, actually, depression is really pause. It's all about I can't move forward. So now I'm pushing on forward and I'm coming out into the open, and I'm branching out, and I'm using my voice and I'm talking about it. So as soon as you start talking about your problems or letting things go, your inner sunshine begins to burn off this kind of darkness that's inside. So this is an expression showing how the point can be diffused and how you can create strength from it, and how actually that's showing you what you need to do, which is to get out there and to move out of that inertia and to express yourself. So that's a beautiful one. I love that card. And, you know, and leave the kind of the home, the safety. You've got to actually go up and grow up. Oh God, we all have to do that. Anyway, then the other one that comes up is the focal point, but this time it's a focal point that's not very positive. It's not an aim or a goal. It's one that's making you bleed, and it's affecting your brain and your life, and it's basically, well, you're not very happy in this place. So you might have, for instance, you're concentrating on something that's not good for you. So you might be all the time, I've got to do this, when it's a got to, not I long to and I want to. It's and so you're actually draining from your life. So that focal point is not helping you. You're actually reacting from fear. Or it might be that you've got somebody in your life who's quite a narcissist, and or who's stealing energy from you, or you know, who you're allowing. I mean, it's not always it's not their fault. You're allowing it. So this points to maybe you need to get rid of this in your life. Maybe you need to actually cut and move on. And look, when you do that to that mandala, it's a lot brighter. It actually has, you know, you can see that it's clear. So sometimes we need to make these choices, and that mandala points to that. So these are focal points that need to be expelled and expressed and got rid of. And here we've got, there's a beautiful one, Oak Care, which is for heart center point. And it's for when we've had childhoods that are very tricky, and we've lost our sense of joy and playing like little elves, and we've kind of lost the feeling of being in a possibility world and safety. And we've got lots of anger and we need to let it out. And we've also got to circulate the love. And what's going to come up a lot in this, how do we get out of this, is by circulating. First we accept it, there is a point, and then we allow it to circulate and not take it personally. That's going to be very important. It's everything that's going on in the other that we're projecting is part of us. So it's all part of us. And we need to just let it circulate and go out. So those are kind of negative, well, not negative, but getting rid of negativity. And then the last one I've just got is a very clear one. This is about grounding. So this is when you're going through a vortex change and everything is hurtling around and you're divorcing, or and your feet are so definitely off the ground. This is how it feels. Oh my God, you know, or you're changing house, or you're moving schools, or you're even getting married, or something that's kind of, you want to do it, but it can be I want to do it. It needn't be something negative or tricky in your life, but you need that grounding, need that very come back to center. This is ultraviolet light. It's very spiritual. It's up here, and we're kind of vibrating at very high shock energy. So it's bringing us right down to the now. Beautiful. That's calm. Okay, so then I just thought it was quite fun to look at this. So if you know, these two, which one looks more powerful? I think this one lacks something, don't you? That has a point. There we go, just on the side. Then I thought I would look at, you know, what's going on for me, just to use it as an art therapy tool at the moment. So I did a little sort of, what am I working on that I'm projecting into the other or into my life? So I just drew it, and then I did another circle. So that's just showing me what I'm dealing with. So I put fear of being rubbish, not seen, ridiculous, ridiculed, not making money, fear of success, fear of not making it, feeling sick, empty. So there you go. Those are all the things that, yes. I'm feeling all these things sometimes. And it's quite heavy and dirty and stuck. And I needed to access, what's my lovely, you know, that to move out of it and get solar. Become solar. And I think it's interesting that the solar system has a point. We all go around the sun, you know. That's fascinating. Anyway, so how do I heal this? This was something I asked myself. So what I did was I brought in the Holy Spirit, and I brought in love and divine, and I took a quantum leap, and I said, bring some energy in, move it around, show me the way, as Tosha Silva, sorry. Let God in, let light in. And accept this. Accept it. It's fine. It's okay. I have that. I can be. Now I'm trying to think of what I was going to say next. But I think that's the end of this. So, yes. I feel almost sad to be leaving these really powerful inner cards, because that's where it all happens. And after that, really, it's just a choice of what you want to do with all these other ones. And we will be looking at them. I'm going to go through the next lot, which is universal energy, which is the pentagon, which is obviously the Da Vinci Man. It's our very inner selves and what we're kind of the beginnings of what we're working with. And then we're going to move into the hexagon, which is how we go into life and what we start reacting with and how we kind of move forward. And then the very outer wheel is going to be everyday occurrences. But really, the most important thing is what we've just done now. And I'm thinking also of bringing people in as guests to speak on my super YouTube channel. So anyway, I'm going to be doing that as well soon. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around with me, those that have, all three of you, which is lovely. And I will be here next week talking about the next lot of things, which is universal energy and the pentagon. Bye then.